Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in just a second. I'm Tony Badillo. I'm the Dean of Dual Credit and Early College High Schools. And we will be starting our Dual Credit Forum in just a few seconds. Let's see. With me is Ms. Sue Selk, who is the Dual Credit Instructional Coordinator, and she will be checking the chat. So if you have any questions, any comments, please go ahead and type them in the chat. We will have a few questions towards the end, so please pay attention. I'm going to turn off my camera just so that it is a little easier to look at the slides. All right. So this is a very important dual credit forum, and that is our opportunity semester. I'm going to. Yes, we need to have mics muted, otherwise we get a lot of feedback, so please mute your mics. Thank you. So we always have this opportunity in the spring semester to have our dual credit forum, and it's typically just a chance to catch up in the spring. We have the dual credit conference in the fall, and we have different opportunities throughout the year. This one is particularly important because El Paso Community College is up for accreditation reaffirmation. And what that means is that the credits that are awarded by EPCC for all of our students, including dual credit and early college high school students, the only way that we can award them is if we are an accredited institution. So accreditation is incredibly important for all of the students in our region. That means that our credits can be transferred to four-year universities across the state and across the nation. So thank you for everything that you do. And so this forum is going to be more of an information session so that we're all on the same page, on the same sheet of music, like Mr. Chavez always says. And in preparation for our site visit, SACSCOC site visit. So El Paso Community College, just like many universities in the state of Texas, is accredited by SACSCOC, which is the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges. So all of the colleges and universities from Texas all the way north to Virginia are, and of course, east to and south to Florida are accredited by SACSCOC. And we have a visit scheduled for September 12th to the 15th. So please mark your calendars. We don't know. We don't know if the visiting team is going to come visit only our EPCC campuses, if they're going to select any of our off-sites. And remember that all of the high schools are off-sites, EPCC off-sites. And so that's why this is such an important activity, right? For all of us to be on the same page when the visit, I mean, all the time, but of course, when the SACSCOC visitors are here. We will know a little bit before the site visit which off-sites will be visited. So we will be reaching out to some of you directly just to alert you that we will have a visiting team. And who does the visiting team talk to? Everyone, right? They can stop anyone, students, teachers, librarians, counselors, administrators, anybody on the site, and have a conversation, have an interview, have a chat with them. So it is so important, again, that all of us have the correct information. We had our last SACSCOC visit specifically for dual credit in 2018, and we did great, right? The schools that were visited was a fantastic visit. The accreditation team was very impressed by the work that we're doing here in the region. The previous one was in 2015, also very successful. And so we're hoping that the 2022 visit is equally as successful. So we need to be prepared, right? Again, we don't know where and who they're going to be talking to. And so it's important that, but by the way, we've already submitted a very thorough report as an institution. And that report is being reviewed right now by an offsite team in preparation for this visit. So they may have some questions already in their minds when they come to town. And so our focus, of course, is dual credit and early college high schools. And we have seen a little bit of a drop in enrollment, in dual credit enrollment, a number of reasons, right? And I have had conversations with many of you about this particular situation. In some cases, of course, has been the pandemic, the loss of credit, the focus on high school graduation, the kind of switch towards early colleges and PTEC, so a number of reasons. Not to mention the change, right, from the TSI to the TSI 2.0, which turned out to be, more challenging for our students. We have, of course, developed some college readiness standards, multiple measures for students to earn college credit, but still, right, we see that decline. And it is sad to see, because we know that dual credit is a great predictor of success for our students. So I encourage all of you to focus on having more high school students take at least one course, at least one college course for dual credit that really will make a difference. Now, enrollment for early college high schools has continued in an upward trajectory. Again, we have more early colleges. We have now more PTECs, right, which are under the same umbrella. So we predict that we will continue seeing a significant increase in enrollment for the years to come. And so what our focus is here is the credits that EPCC award. And of course, it all comes down to the college course. And remember that I always say there isn't such a thing as a dual credit course, right? So we don't have a dual credit course. We have a college course for dual credit. And so what does that mean to be able to deliver the EPCC course, the college course? Well, these courses are approved by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. High schools, right, are overseen by TEA. Well, higher ed is overseen in Texas, right, by the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. And so each one of the courses in our inventory has to be approved by the coordinating board. And the faculty in that particular discipline has curricular oversight. So they determine the course objectives and the student learning outcomes. Again, they're assessed. What student learning is assessed by, the student learning outcomes and the core curriculum assessments. And ultimately what we have in this course is the EPCC grade, the college grade using the college grading scale. The syllabus, again, is the foundation, right, for the college curriculum. We have an official course syllabus for every one of the courses that we offer, that lists the objectives that must be taught. The faculty coordinators, or the deans, are the ones who review the syllabus every semester. So for those of you in attendance who are dual credit faculty, you have to submit your syllabus, right, to your coordinator. You have to upload it to the HB 2504 page. And again, this has to be public information by law. We do have some mandatory assessments, and they are the student learning outcomes and the core curriculum assessments. These are mandatory for all core courses. And remember that the EPCC core curriculum is those 42 credit hours that are available to all of our students, right? Dual credit, early college, PTECs. And those have to be assessed. Same thing with textbooks, right? So we, the selection of textbooks, the adoption of textbooks is done by each discipline at the college. We do have a 4-year adoption for the most part for courses taught at the high schools. So dual credit faculty can keep the same edition, right, for up to 4 years, 2 years in some cases. Not so, of course, for courses taught on a college campus. My office actually keeps track of those adoptions, and SP Gomez in my office contacts your schools and districts, alerting them that there's going to be a new edition coming up, that the adoption cycle is up, so that we're all ready for the next adoption. We also post the dual credit textbook adoption list on our dual credit page. Again, available for everyone. Right now, we're in the process of updating it for the 2022-2023 academic year. So if you go to the dual credit page and you look for the dual credit textbook adoption list, you will see some of the disciplines highlighted in yellow. Those are the ones that are pending. We're waiting for the disciplines to let us know what is the default dual credit textbook for the next cycle. We have also started implementing the Open Educational Resources, or OER, and those are online materials that are developed by our faculty. The advantage of that is that their textbooks don't have to be purchased, access codes don't have to be purchased, and there is a minimal fee assessed for the use of the open educational resources. Again, great savings for our students, our traditional students, but also for districts and high schools. Now, something that is key is that books and access codes must be in the student's hands no later than the first week of class. Again, this is sometimes challenging, but I think all of us, right, want to make an effort to make sure that that happens. Sometimes districts have a challenging time in securing purchase orders. Again, it's everyone's, it's teamwork, right? So our disciplines have to provide the information for the textbooks in a timely manner. The districts need to identify and purchase those, again, as soon as possible. Some districts are looking for some innovative ways to provide textbooks to students so that they can have them on the very first day of classes, which of course is ideal. I'm going to take just a second to see if there are any questions in the chat, any comments. I don't see any, but please don't hesitate to put any comments or questions in the chat, and we will get to them shortly. All right, so something else that is very important to have oversight is faculty, right? So that's something that SACSCOC pays close attention to. So those of you who are faculty and who had to go through the process of credentialing, you can certainly understand how thorough we have to be. We ask you for lots of information. Sometimes we ask you to please reach out to the university and provide additional information on your transcripts. All of this is because when SACSCOC comes in to look, they actually ask for the credential folders themselves, physical folders, and they go through every single document in those credential folders. We have been highlighted really as model school for faculty credentials because we do such a thorough job. And we want to continue, right? We want to maintain that high level of quality in faculty credentialing. And so we apologize. Sometimes this process takes longer. It takes some back and forth, some review, but it is all because we want to ensure that the faculty have the right credentials, and not only dual credit faculty, but all of our faculty, right? Full-time adjunct faculty, dual credit faculty, we have to follow the same process and the same guidelines. And continuing with faculty, we also have to document faculty evaluations. We did make a change in the last few years. We used to, some of you may remember, we used to deliver boxes of evaluations to your district offices to be distributed for courses in the high schools. And we have switched to online evaluations. By the way, the evaluations are out. Please make sure that students log on to their EPCC email so they're able to evaluate their instructors, whether they are dual credit faculty or if they're taking an online class or they're coming on campus. Every student has the right to evaluate their instructors. Instructors don't see the results of the evaluation until the beginning of the following semester. So there's no worries in that regard. Students will not, faculty will not see the evaluations from the students. We also have some guidelines regarding and procedures regarding faculty evaluations in the classroom. And so many of you, if you are dual credit faculty, you're contacted by a faculty coordinator who sends you a self-evaluation that you have to complete and schedules a face-to-face in-person visit to your class. Of course, during the last 2 years, some of those evaluations have been done remotely, but more and more we're doing them now face-to-face back in your high school. Again, these evaluations happen at each one of our campuses and each one of our offsites. So something else that SACSCOC pays attention to is all of our resources, right? So students should have the same access to the same resources regardless of the location. And so some of you know, my office contacts your schools to conduct facilities assessments. So we go out to look at your libraries, look at your classrooms, look at your labs, and vet them for specific classes. We're very lucky to have a designated librarian, EPCC librarian who works with high school librarians. Her name is Diana Olivares. So students have access to college textbooks, college materials, college library resources, whether from the high school directly or via our online databases. Students, of course, also have access to the libraries at each one of our campuses. And that is a great advantage that we have at EPCC, right? We have 5 campus locations throughout the city. And so there's always an EPCC campus near you. Again, whenever we have our SACSCOC visits, the visiting team usually asks to visit a classroom, to visit a library, and to sit down and talk to faculty, staff, and students. So we ask you that if your high school is selected for a visit, that you make those locations available to the visiting team. By the way, and SUSELC will support me in this, for some of those visits, even though we escort the visiting team, we are not invited to the interviews, right? We kind of have to wait outside. So we trust that you will be able to deliver this important message to our visiting team. Again, we document all of our facilities assessments. Again, SP Gomez in my office does a fantastic job scheduling those visits, then documenting the assessments and making them available to our compliance office. And something else that our faculty do when they visit the high schools is make sure, especially for labs, that not only do they have the right facilities, but they have all the required equipment and supplies to deliver the college course at the high schools. We're very lucky. We're very lucky. We have great partners who invest significant funds to make sure that they have everything that is required to deliver the college course. Again, Suselk mentioned to please put in any questions, any comments that you have in the chat, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. So what else do we do? What else do we do to make sure that we're on the same page? Well, activities like this one, right? So we have some professional development, many different opportunities throughout the year. I see many of you at those events. So for newly credentialed faculty, we have the dual credit summer convening. Sue Selk and Lorena Gonzalez are the instructors of record for the dual credit instructional learning modules. Those are, 10-hour online courses for newly credentialed faculty, just again to make sure that they have some basic information about what we expect them to do. We have a new faculty orientation during the long semesters during Faculty Development Week, along with a Faculty Resource Expo. Those were kind of put on hold during the pandemic, but we're back to having those in person in the fall. We have a new facilitator workshop, again, during Faculty Development Week. And faculty attend division and discipline meetings, again, that week of faculty development. Mr. Chavez leads the counseling institutes twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. Always we get great comments, right, from typically high school counselors who attend those sessions. We do have, again, Faculty Development Week. There are many workshops available to all faculty. The requirement is to attend one, but of course, faculty can attend as many as they want. We're very proud. We're in the 9th year, right, of our dual credit conference. And again, we try to have a variety of sessions along with a keynote speaker that brings statewide or national perspective to the work that we do. And of course, the dual credit forum like this one that we host in the spring. So again, we try to have lots of opportunities for professional development for faculty, facilitators, counselors, and administrators throughout the year. A word about substitutions, and this is very challenging. I totally understand. So I'll give you an example for on-campus classes, right? Some of you may remember years ago, I was the Dean of Math and Science at the Valle Verde campus. And if one of my faculty members was out, I could not, go into that class and substitute for that instructor. Because although I am a credentialed faculty member, I would not be credentialed in that particular discipline. So the same thing goes for dual credit faculty, right? So dual credit faculty at the high schools, of course, it's okay. I mean, we all can have a few absences throughout the year for a number of reasons. But if we have more than 3 consecutive absences, then we need to have a credentialed faculty member and credentialed in that discipline. So very important to alert your dean or your EPCC dean or your EPCC faculty coordinator if there's going to be some long-term absences. We have had, unfortunately, cases where, a faculty member leaves in the middle of the semester. We have had, unfortunately, a few years back, people who pass away in the middle of the semester, which is horribly unfortunate. But still, we have to provide to really award the credit for the students. We have to have a credentialed faculty member there. So we try to adjust as best as we can. So very important. Even if you have another credentialed faculty member in the same discipline at the high school, it's important to let the dean and the coordinator know. So that decision again cannot be limited to the high school. The dean and the coordinator have to approve. So please, again, it's best to keep close communication with faculty coordinators and administrators at EPCC, because we always find out, right? And it's best to prevent rather than try to fix something that may hurt the students in the long run. So please help us with that. As you know, we have our distance learning support services. Ms. Luz Cadena and her team do an amazing job at trying to keep us all up to date and making sure that your students have the right access for our Blackboard, which is our learning management system. That is one of the facilities assessments that is conducted. Mr. Andy Lawrence goes out to the high schools, makes sure that whether there's a lab or students' devices can connect to Blackboard and can have access to all the resources. Keep in mind that we do have trainings, right, for faculty and for facilitators, an overview for facilitators so that they can assist students when they're taking online courses. Mr. Treviños has a question. So he says, let's say at a high school level, you will be gone 3 days, but you're facilitating instruction with Blackboard Ultra. The sub would just be watching the kids, but not delivering instruction. Is that okay? It is not okay, Mr. Treviño. So it is so important that if you can be out for 3 days, that's not a problem. But if you're out longer than 3 days, you have to alert your dean and your coordinator. And I have to say that sometimes this is discipline specific, right? So there might be certain things that can be delivered online. We were able to allow dual credit faculty to deliver a course online during the pandemic, but that has changed, right? So now, even though you may have the Blackboard shell as a support, the course is delivered face-to-face. So when in doubt, check with your coordinator, check with your dean, just to make sure that you're not jeopardizing your students' credit. But that was a great question. All right, so all of our students, right, have access to student services. And again, I have to say that a little bit challenging during the pandemic. We've tried to maintain all of our services remotely. Again, I think all of us, right, can't wait for things to go back to normal. But some of the services that we provide are, of course, support with Applied Texas. Dr. La Chica Chavez and her team, work on developing or creating those ID numbers and registering the students. The fantastic job that our dual credit enrollment specialists do. Those are the 5 ladies that register each one of your students manually. They really deserve an award, right? They do fantastic work. So other services available to dual credit students are, of course, student IDs. We had to put that a little bit on hold because we couldn't have enough staff on campus to really process the large numbers of students that come from the high school. So usually you bring a busload of students, right? And we didn't want them to have to wait too long if we only had one person processing student IDs. I understand that we're now back to bringing students on campus for tours and for student IDs at some of our campuses, not all of them yet. But Dr. Amaya, who many of you remember as Dean of Math and Science, is now the interim Vice President of Student and Enrollment Services, and he assures me that he's working really hard to upgrade that system so that it is very easily available at all of the campuses. So stay tuned because we should have that at all of our campuses soon. As you know, we also have we have fabulous counseling team, of course, Mr. Chavez and his team, and all of the early college, high school, and P-TECH counselors, EPCC counselors that work closely with your high schools. We also have specifically our Center for Students with Disabilities. And again, all of our students, right, regardless whether they are at the high school or in campus, have access to these services. There's a little bit of a difference, as you all know, between high school and college. And so for college, students have to identify themselves as requiring the services and meet with our CSE counselors and receive the appropriate accommodations. Remember that for college courses, there's no modifications of the curriculum. There's only accommodations based on their need. Again, determined by our Center for Students with Disabilities counselors. We also have testing services. Now you do have testing at most of the high school sites, but also we offer that service on a college campus. Your students receive a new student orientation, whether through your EPCC counselors that work with early colleges and PTECs, or through my counselors, my team that work with dual credit students. All of your students have access also to career and transfer services and tutoring. And if the pandemic had some positive effects, was that we were able to put all of our courses, tutoring for all of our courses online, very easily accessible for your students with lots of options, you know, the hours, the schedule for, you know, I think 20 hours a day, something like that. It's, you know, early morning, late night. There's a question from Mr. Heave who says, who is the final authority on determining the allowed instructional accommodations in dual credit? Absolutely, that's a great question. The ultimate authority is the college counselor. And this is so important, right? Even though the student is in the high school, right? As I said at the beginning, the course is a college course. And for us to grant credit, it has to follow the college procedures. And that includes accommodations for students with disabilities. If there's ever a question, Mr. O'Keefe, if your school administration tells you otherwise, please reach out to me because, again, sometimes we just have to emphasize going back to our dual credit partnership agreement that spells it out very clearly that is the only way that we can grant college credit. So thank you so much for that question. And it's a difficult question, right? Because you have the student there, you have the parents, right? But our counselors do a really good job at facilitating a meeting with the students, whether face-to-face or virtually, and including the parents in that meeting if the student allows. And so the student should have the right accommodations. And again, we do exactly the same thing for students on campus, right? And we have students with sometimes very severe disabilities that are very successful in their college courses. So thank you so much for that question. All right, so that is really the end of the presentation per se. But now I'm going to open it up for, you know, some conversation and also some questions. I'm just curious, you know, how if you have attended some of my recent presentations, I learned how to do polls. So now I really like kind of checking to see if the audience, if we're on the same page. So I'm going to post a few questions and I ask you that you answer them and we will see the results. We won't see who answered the questions, we'll just see the percentage of people who have a certain answer. So here is the first question. And the question is, when is EPCC expecting the SACSCOC visiting team? Please select your answer. All right. We have 30 responses. Come on, we have 60 people in attendance. Don't be shy. All right, so if you answered fall of 2022, you are correct. Again, September, right? That's when we're expecting the visiting team, but we will alert you as to when if they're coming to your school. Are you ready for the next question? Here we go. So the question is, EPCC's dual credit enrollment has increased, decreased, or remained constant? What do you think? All right, so dual credit only, right? That's the point. So dual credit only enrollment has decreased. So if you said decrease, you were correct. All right, next question. How about early college enrollment? Right, so 80% of you are saying increased, and you are correct. It has increased and it will continue increasing. That is, of course, our prediction. Are you ready for the next question? I hope you answered this one correctly. So is this true or false? Uh-oh. We're having almost a 50-50 answer. Yes, right. So it's true. If you said false, let's go back and talk a little bit about it. So the course is the college course. And at the end of the semester, the grade, which is a college grade, is translated into the high school grade. And all of you have some procedure, right, that tells you what that grade is translated to. And so that's why we have to follow all of the policies and procedures that I discussed before, because it is a college course and we have to follow all of those procedures and guidelines to award the credit. So yeah, no such thing as dual credit course. Next one. Oh, this is a tricky one. SLOs stand for all right, 94% of you are correct. Student learning outcomes. Very good. Next one. How about CCAs? Fun, don't be shy, don't be shy. Right, so 89% of you are correct. Core curriculum assessments. That's right. Next one. Who reviews the course syllabus? You got it. Yes, the EPCC dean or coordinator. By the way, the syllabi are available online, right? So if you go to the curriculum page, you will see on the left-hand side the student and faculty, the course and faculty information, and you will be able to retrieve really all of the syllabi, right, for that particular semester and previous semesters too. It's really good for those new faculty who would like to kind of draft their first course syllabus to go to previous semesters and look and see what other faculty have listed in their syllabus. All right, just a few more. You can do it. All right. So the next one is, where can the dual credit textbook adoption list be found? Nobody selected. Oh yeah, somebody selected the secret vault. Actually the dual credit webpage. Very good. Oh, Diana Medina, that's right. The secret vault. All right, next question. The dual credit faculty are selected and credentialed differently than EPCC adjunct faculty. Is that true or false? Yes, absolutely false. We go through exactly the same credentialing process with the same documentation, the same credential packet that is submitted for signatures. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, once my office, Carmen Rodriguez in my office, puts together the credential packet, she delivers it to the appropriate dean who is going to oversee that faculty member. And that is the first signature. Then that dean needs to secure a second signature, in other words, a second dean who reviews the packet, all the documents. And if that person agrees, then that would be the second signature. And then finally, all of the credential packets are submitted to Dr. Smith, our Vice President of Instruction, and he reviews every single one and is the third and final signature. So yes, there's a long process, but it's really to ensure that there's more eyes looking at all the documentation, and we feel very confident that that particular instructor can deliver the college course. So thank you again for your patience on that. All right. Is this the last one? What? A couple more. I said that a couple of questions ago. All right, and the question is, EPCC offers professional development for dual credit partners, and we have three choices. Year-round, during faculty development week only, or only in the summer. Well, if you answer year-round, you are correct. We have lots of opportunities throughout the year for professional development. Very good. All right, next to last question. Any credentialed high school teacher can be a substitute for a dual credit instructor. That's a tricky question. Just read it carefully. True or false? Right, so if you said false, that is the correct answer, because remember that the person has to be not only credentialed, but credentialed in that discipline, and the substitution has to be approved by the dean and the coordinator. So credentialing is not just a blanket, right? It's very specific to that discipline. In some areas, it's only credential for certain courses in a discipline. All right, final question. What do you say, true or false? Dual credit and early college high school students have access to all the student services available to EPCC students. Yes, true. Absolutely. Very good. So that is, those are all the questions. You all did really, really well on all the questions. Let me go back to the chat to see if there are any questions, any other comments. I believe that you can raise your hand also, and if you want to make a comment or ask a question, you can certainly do that. Ms. Selk, did I miss anything?
I don't see anything.
All right. So any comments or questions? All right. Well, I really want to thank you for participating in the Dual Credit Forum, and we will be posting this presentation on our webpage. And I encourage you to please ask your colleagues who were not able to participate to check it out. Maybe you can help them answer some of these questions. Again, in preparation for a very, very important reaffirmation visit by the SACSCOC team, but also in general, right? It is important for all of us to know that the work that we do is crucial to granting college credits to all of the students in the region. It would be incredibly sad if EPCC were not able to do so. So this is important for everyone, for all of the stakeholders here. All right, well, thank you so much, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.